Today's video, the installation and initial setup of the DC-AS4 digital indoor controller. This video will also include 4 of our EPD units, which provide the necessary equipment ground fault protection for our heat cable systems. As shown, all 4 EPD units are piped into the controller, and all connections for these EPD units to power are made within the controller. Internally mounted DIN rail components are all UL 508A approved. Beginning at the top of the terminal block, we see the inputs for A1 and A2. This is for the non-polarized temp probe. The temp probe comes as a 10-foot lead and can be extended with standard wiring per the instructions in the install guide. The controller has a separate 120-volt control circuit, allowing it to be direct wired to a 120-volt circuit breaker or adapted with a plug for a panel outlet. It can also be useful to use a smart outlet for Wi-Fi control, and other Wi-Fi control that can switch 120-volt circuits can be used as well, allowing for remote operation of the DC-AS4 digital controller. For the purpose of this demonstration, the load side of the 4 EPD units are attached to the line side of the DC-AS4 digital controller at P1, P2, P3, and P4. Then load going out to the heat cables can be seen on the right side of the terminal block at P1, P2, P3, and P4. These legs are not switched and can be used for 120 volt through 277 volt hookup. Again, demonstrating the 4 EPD units coming in through the ABB contactor. The load side again is indicated by the stripe wire of leg 1, the hot leg on 120 volt and 277, as well as leg 1 of 208 and 240 are run into the left side of the ABB contactor, and then the load coming out on the right side out to the heat cables. Again, this is demonstrating for 4 circuits. This controller can be used for 1 through 4 circuits, but this shows it with all 4 circuits being used. Again, a close-up showing the load side of the EPD or power coming in on the line side of the controller. And for reference, when using the EPD units, we see here connection from line coming in to the line side on the EPD unit, which is indicated by the solid red and solid black wires here on this 240 volt EPD. They will be white and black solid on 120 volt EPDs. Here's an example of incoming and outgoing power. There are no knockouts provided in the enclosure, so you're able to tap in at any point. As indicated, we see on the side with the EPD units coming in, line and load going out, and then as well pictured is the non-polarized temp probe lead wire that extends to the outside. It should be placed on a northern exposure away from any heat sources so that it can truly read outdoor ambient temperature. If you do need to extend the temp probe, you can use that using standard wiring. There is indications as far as gauge size depending on how far you will be extending the temp probe. There is a wiring illustration provided in the install guide included with each control panel. The control circuit is 120 volts. A dedicated circuit can be run, as well as taking advantage of any panel circuit breaker panel outlets that may be available. A plug whip can be installed and it can be plugged into the panel outlet. Additionally, there are various smart outlets that have Wi-Fi operation on the market today. An example shown here is one by Belkin, known as the Wemo Mini Smart Switch. This also has an on-off right on it, but it can be controlled remotely via their proprietary web app. The Wemo outlet is just one example. There are many available on the market. You can also use any of the various adaptations from an already installed home automation system that can switch 120 volts on and off. When operating via a smart switch or smart outlet, the control panel itself is left in the auto position, and then the smart outlet can be used to turn the control circuit on and off. When the control circuit is on, the panel will function normally in its auto setting. For the initial setup, testing, and determining whether or not you've done everything correctly, depress the 3-position rocker switch to the manual position, and you'll see the temperature display will not light up. However, the heat cable on indicator light will illuminate, indicating that power is being sent to the heat cables. We recommend wiring the EPD units on the line side of the controller, and this allows the units to always be illuminated even when there's no power being sent to the heat cable. To test the EPD units, to press the test button and the red indicator light will begin flashing. To reset after testing, press the reset button and the blinking red light will turn to the green solid LED light. To test the automatic function of the controller, depress the 3-position switch in the up or auto position, and the temperature display will illuminate, showing outside ambient temperature. Check and make sure this is within range. If it is between 5 and 35 degrees, the heat cable on light will illuminate. If it's outside of that range, the heat cable on light will not illuminate. If you get an error message on the display, it means the temp probe is not connected properly. To confirm the factory preset temperatures, as well as to make any adjustments to those temperatures, depress the set button once, and a temperature of 39 degrees Fahrenheit will begin flashing with a dot under the out one, indicating this is the first set value. To adjust up or down, use the arrows from there. There's a hysteresis built in to these temperature settings. So that's a temperature setting at which the heat cables will turn off when it rises above 39F. When it falls below 35F, the heat cables will be energized. Hit set once again, and a value of 9 degrees will display with a dot under the out 2. This is the second set value. That's the temperature at which when it rises back above 9 degrees, the heat cables will be energized. When it falls below 5 degrees, the heat cables will be de-energized. This means that the heat cables will essentially be on in a window between 35 and 5. When this 9 degrees is flashing, you'll be able to arrow up and arrow down, adjusting that value as well. Please bear in mind the 4-degree hysteresis. When done, hit that set button once again, and those values will be flashed into memory. There's no additional saving that needs to be done. They will be immediately flashed into memory. Once all testing, setup, and adjustments are complete, the panel can be returned to the center position on the 3-position rocker switch, or the off position. It's now ready for customer use when needed. Hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.